My name is Jacqueline Kiyomi Gork, and we are in my studio in Los Angeles. I can play a sound and I know what I'm paying attention to, what I find attractive about it. But that same sound can be played for somebody else and they'll have a completely different experience with it. And that's what I kind of call like the slipperiness of sound. You can't control what someone else's experience is, and I don't want to. But I can ideally create this open environment for people to enter into and to kind of explore on their own. Inside You As Me is an installation environment. It's always changing and kind of inviting people in to create new relationships and new experiences between audiences and sound. My residency at the lab was a 30-day period where I could do whatever I wanted to. And so I chose to create a kind of sound environment with movable walls that had different materials hanging off of them where I could kind of change the acoustics of certain areas of space. And then I had a massive sound system just on stands where I could move everything around all the time. And then I invited people into the space to create new pieces with me and different events and happenings, as well as just kind of installation hours where I just had like the piece was just ongoing. Part of the lab show was to play with what happens when you take the performer out, or what happens when you don't give the audience seats. So they have to make decisions as to how they're going to move. What happens when the speakers are not set up in any kind of traditional pattern so that the sound could be completely different on the other side of the room. But there really wasn't one specific vantage point that an audience could be at and see everything that was going on. And then I was able to play sounds and move them around the space. The SFMOMA installation of Inside You As Me is really going to be just the installation part of it. There's going to be no performances. It has been activated from the box that was recently acquired by the museum. And so this box is kind of a toolkit for this installation. So I'm pulling materials from my materials library and then kind of reinterpreting the piece for the geometry of the space at SFMOMA. Because the shape of the room and the size of the room, I'll mostly just be using sound absorption. So there's going to be a lot of soft material. It's not a strict piece. It's not saying that it needs to be, this color or this texture or anything like that. And so I can still be very present with like, what's this space telling me? I imagine I'll be doing a lot of like kind of people watching and seeing how the flow and the movement happens in the space. Sound it's not just in your body, but it's almost like in your nervous system, like in your bones. Sound occupies the same environment that we are sitting in now, but it operates very differently. We're so used to being able to control our own environments now, even our own sonic environments, headphones walking around. So kind of what happens when you can't control that? Do you accept it or do you fight it?